Welcome back to Hair What I'm Saying, the podcast where we dive into all things hair care, beauty, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kenitra, and today we're tackling a topic that impacts so many, hair loss. Joining me is Aoife, a certified trichologist based in Austin, Texas, who specializes in identifying and treating hair and scalp disorders. Together, we'll explore the science behind the hair loss, common causes, effective solutions, and how you can reclaim your confidence and your strands. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Welcome to the Hair What I'm Saying podcast. I'm your host, Kenitra Stewart, and today we have Aoife of Aoife Marie Beauty joining us, a trichologist located in Austin, Texas. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to have a trichologist on the show.
Have you not had one before?
No, I've never even had conversation with a trichologist.
Oh my God.
So when I saw you, I was like, ooh, this would be so great for my listeners who are, struggling with hair loss and restoration. You can be able to share some gems and some tips.
100%.
To help them. Great. Can you share a bit about your journey to becoming a trichologist and what inspired your interest in the field?
So my interest goes back. So I've been doing this since COVID times. Okay, that's when I started going to school. Because back then, one of my best friends got diagnosed with cancer at the age of 26 years old. Yeah.
What kind of
very
cancer?
Lung. She didn't even smoke. It was like totally left field.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was diagnosed, she came to me and she was like, so what do I do about like the hair situation? And like of all of the scary things that were happening, she was like most concerned with her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of wild to me because like hair is our life, obviously. So
Absolutely.
Like, of course I would be concerned about my hair. But the fact that she was coming to me and she was like, I don't know what to do. Like, let's talk about wigs. Like, how am I going to grow the hair back? So I was doing like a lot of research for her because I realized that our training doesn't cover hair loss at all.
Oh, see, really?
Right? Like you went to cosmetology school. Did you guys cover hair loss?
Cosmetology, not trichologist. Cosmetology.
Yeah,
I was about to say, whoa, trichology.
Oh, yeah. I should back up. I've been a hairstylist for 11 years.
Okay, gotcha.
So like my background is in hair. So when she came to me asking hair questions.
And this was before you were a trichologist.
This was before I was a trichologist. I was like, I don't know how to help you. Like I truly, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I was doing some Google research and I was like freaking out because I'm like, I'm a Virgo. So I like to have answers.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find answers. But instead I found trichology. And so I found this whole like sector of, people come into this from like functional health. People come into this from the hairstyling world. Just like this little bubble of people who only work with hair loss.
Yes.
And it was so inspiring to me. And I was so excited. We were already locked down. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
What if I just went to school real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how I started into it. Really just to help one person, and now here I am.
but then it's like, I for women, it's really serious for us to like, when it comes to our hair, we're like, when you said, I could not believe that was the first thing that she was thinking about was like, how am I gonna basically hold on to my hair?
If I, God forbid, was diagnosed with anything, I would be so concerned with my hair. My hair
is
my life.
Me too. But you brought that into perspective for me.
Right.
I would be really trying to figure out, how am I going to save my hair?
Right.
What in the world?
Right. So, and that's apparently a thing all women have. And also a little statistic for you.
Mm-hmm.
Women are going to lose their hair on average 4 times in their life. Okay. From like childbirth, surgeries, postpartum, grief. Like we are just prone to losing our hair.
Yes.
So I also think as a hairstylist, I was doing a lot of extensions.
Okay.
And I was realizing that girls that were coming to me for extensions had other things going on that, I was like, we probably shouldn't be putting extensions on this.
So it wasn't medical related.
Like girls just lose their hair. It's just kind of how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just had like a bunch of things where it's like a lot of people are losing their hair right now. How can I help?
Okay. When you say for other reasons, what were some of the reasons why they were losing their hair?
Well, COVID, people are losing their hair.
Okay.
Ozempic. So sorry, ladies, if you're on Ozempic.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to lose your hair if you're on Ozempic because either the rapid weight loss is going to do it, or if you're taking a medication that your body doesn't necessarily need, you're going to end up shedding hair.
Yes.
Anytime you start or stop a medication, you're going to lose your hair.
Yes.
Poor diet.
Yep, for
You're
sure.
going to lose your hair. If you're dehydrated, you're going to lose your hair. There's literally, your hair is so sensitive.
It is.
You're going to
it responds first.
I always say
anything, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
I say it's a symptom.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially as hairstylists, right? I always say, like, we're like the front lines, okay?
Yes.
Because clients come to us and they're like, hey, like, my hair's falling out suddenly. Like, we are the first people to ever interact with someone when they're going through this.
Right.
But it's always a symptom of something else happening.
Yes, for sure. Internally.
Yeah.
For sure. And I know for my clients, when it's a topical situation like maybe tension alopecia, I can assist with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it comes to like diet or like you mentioned, anything that has changed, sometimes they don't want to go see these other experts that you recommend them to.
No, I also think like that's why I love that trichology is a thing now because, you know, I have really bad skin and like going to a dermatologist is a process. Right. You have to go to a general practitioner. You have to get referred. You know, like it's a huge process and it's very expensive in order to get answers. So I love having this other sector where it's like, I'm a specialist in this one thing. Like you can come to me and I can help you out.
Got you. Okay. That makes sense too, because I'm always like, why are you so hesitant? Here's the solution.
Yeah.
Just go.
Right.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, it's a process. And most people want that quick fix, you know?
Yeah, or they just don't think it's as serious. You know, like going to a doctor's like makes it a serious thing. Or they might, you know, other things might come up with it. Who knows? A lot of people are just scared of that. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can see that. Like having to learn other things outside of it's just you losing your hair due to whatever. Facing the reality of something more serious.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Were there any personal experiences or stories that motivated you to pursue trichology, which I feel like you've already mentioned about your client?
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of, like I said, like hair loss affects everybody. I've crossed so many people that are experiencing hair loss and like not having the answers for your clients is so... It's so like disheartening, like when you have a client in your chair and they're losing their hair and they're asking you why and you have to be like,
I don't know.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, once I notice it's not topical, I always say, you probably want to go get some blood work done, you know, just to see, because you'd be surprised, low iron or whatever it could be.
Yes, literally.
It could literally affect your hair, you know. I actually had a client who... I think for about 3 months, she was contacting me. Well, the first time she ever came to me, she was like, oh, my hair won't grow. And I'm asking her all the questions that we ask the clients, like, well, are you on any medication? You know, has your diet changed? Whatever. And she was like, no. But I noticed that she just wasn't consistent with cuts and trims or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, oh, your hair seems fine. I'm checking the integrity. Your scalp looks great. It can grow. Or it can retain length, right?
Yeah, it is so funny because that is such a... like half of my job when I do hair loss consultations is like, yeah, actually like your scalp is fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
She is doing great. However, I do see that your hair is breaking off. And like for listeners at home, if you look at the ends of your hair, okay, and if you see any little white dots, do you know what I'm talking about?
Those little bulbs.
Yeah. That's called trichologists nodosa. That is heat damage. So what happens is...
What is that called again? Say that again.
Trichologists nodosa.
Gotcha. Never heard of that.
It is a hair disorder. Okay. But it's 100% heat damage. It's when you apply heat on the hair and it forms a moisture bubble inside of the hair. And that moisture bubble, there's no healing it. It's just going to snap off. So I like to give my clients that because you really don't want to shame them, especially when it's coming down to, hey, like your hair is not growing because you're breaking it off. You know, like you have to be very gentle about it. Like it's not because people don't want to take accountability, which is fine. I don't either. Like
I don't want to either.
Right? Like I don't want anyone to come, you know, to feel like I'm coming at them in like an accusatory way.
Yeah,
because like they're coming to you with a problem. So I'd like to educate them. Like that looks like heat damage. That's trichologists nodosa.
I love
that.
There
is no healing for it. Like you're gonna have to just cut that off and start again. But I also don't recommend clients putting heat on their hair more than once a week. Period.
For sure.
a lot of my job too is teaching people how to air style their hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let it dry naturally, do other methods of drying it to lay off the heat. Because I found out people are using heat on their hair so often, and that's what's breaking their hair off.
That's what's breaking their hair off. And her problem wasn't even heat. She was a very low maintenance client.
Interesting.
Yeah, her problem was just not cutting the dead ends off, so it was just breaking off. But then we actually her hair started growing when she started coming consistently or retaining length. It was already growing. And we got her down to about a little past her shoulders, and then it started thinning out. And she was like, I don't know what's going on. My hair is thinning. I don't know what to do. She was like, I'm not heat styling in between the times that I'm coming to see you. The only heat I apply to my hair is when you do it. We couldn't figure it out. And I was like, okay, just go to the doctor and just see, make sure it's not something in your blood. And this went on for like 3 months, you know, of us trying to figure this out. And then she was like, you know what it is? She was like, the only thing that's changed is I started that Ozempic shot. And that's what it was. And as soon as she stopped taking that shot, then the hair started, you know, becoming more fuller. It took some time though, but
if you want to talk, talking about Ozempic.
Yeah.
Just because I know this is a hot topic right now.
Yes, talk about it, girl.
Yeah, let's go into the Ozempic talk.
Yeah.
So that triggers something called telogen effluvium.
Okay.
That happens 3 months after you start a medication.
Okay.
So a lot of the times people don't understand that that's why their hair is falling out because, you know, they're like, I've been taking the shot for 3 months. Like, there's no way that it's that.
It takes time.
It's that.
It takes time.
Anything with hair loss, like whether it's a treatment for growth or it falling out, 3 months is like the sweet spot. So you might not notice that you have any hair loss until the 3-month mark, and then it's going to shed out. With telogen effluvium, you can shed up to 75% of your hair.
OMG.
75% is so dramatic. I've never seen, that's a lie. I have seen that before, but like that is absolute worst case scenario.
Gotcha.
So if you're a listener at home and you're on it, the good thing about telogen effluvium is it always comes back. I think it has it has a 90% retention rate. It fixes itself, and it just it's all about finding balance. I always say your body's fighting for equilibrium so hard. Your hair is non-essential to life. So if there's something else going on in your body, your hair is going to be the one that takes the L.
Yeah. Every single time. I always say, if you want to know what's going on with you internally, your hair is going to dry snitch every time.
I know. Have you ever colored someone's hair and you can hold it out and you can see like basically like tree rings, and you can see exactly like the different things that have been happening in their life. I think it's really cool.
For sure. Even whenever you're losing hair and it's growing back and that new hair is coming in, you can see like at what point where did the breaking start?
Yeah.
Because it's so thin everywhere else and the new growth is so thick.
What you can also do is hold the hair out and you can kind of shake it a little bit and you can shake out some of the long hairs so you can see like exactly where, like, because hair is going to fall out roughly around the same time. It's not exact, like hairs are going to fall out sporadically, but you can kind of see like this hair is 3 months old, right? So I can see that the treatment that we did on you is working because you have 3 inches of new growth,
right?
Of new hairs. Also, if you're wanting to see if your hair is hair growth or breakage, look at the ends of the hair. If it's pointy, that's new hair. If it's a blunt, flat end, that's breakage.
Oh, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, so you can like, hold them up.
So when it's pointing, that's a good indication.
Yes.
But when it's blunt, that's breakage.
Yes, especially around the hairline. I like to just like take extra time to like go through someone's hairline because these hairs get ripped out left, right, center. We are so rough on the front of our hair.
Yeah.
Like glasses, ponytails, slicking it back. So you can just go around and like really see if that's breakage.
Yeah.
Or new growth.
Gotcha. I'm learning too. Okay. For those unfamiliar, what is trichologist and how does your work differ from that of a dermatologist or a hairstylist?
So as a trichologist, I am not a doctor. Okay, I'm not going to give medical advice. I do not diagnose. I'm more of like, I call it like a hair therapist.
Okay.
Right? Like I can read your blood work. I can get blood work ordered for you so you can bring it to me and we can read it and we can look through and we can kind of see like what levels are off. I can do a hair tissue mineral analysis so I can send your hair off to a lab and get back some results and I can read it and like tell you what's going on. I'm also a hairstylist, so I kind of like walk that line of doing both.
Mhm.
But I always like to make it clear your hair and your scalp are different.
Yes.
Right? You have to treat them totally different.
Mhm.
Things that are good for your hair may not be good for your scalp, and things that are
Mhm.
good for your scalp are not good for your hair.
Mhm.
But what I like about this little sector is like if you're going to go to a dermatologist, they're going to, because I've been to a dermatologist for hair loss, they're going to offer you minoxidil, which is a foam. You have to apply that foam every single day. And as a hairstylist, I know that's unrealistic. I just know my clients aren't going to do that,
Mhm.
right?
For sure.
Like-
yeah, it's even the basic things, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Because it's
for
going to
sure.
make your hair look greasy. It doesn't look very good. Like it makes it sticky and hard to style. So I just know realistically, no one's going to do that for 3 months, right? That's
Mhm.
90 days of ugly hair.
Even if it's gonna improve the hair, they still wouldn't.
Would you do it?
Yes.
You would do it? You would
Absolutely.
have bad hair for 90 days.
Bad hair for 90 days. I sure would. Like
I wouldn't.
I would be so eager to get my hair back. I'm like, okay, that's 90 days I can sacrifice. Like, I'll be okay.
Well, and the thing with minoxidil too is like once you stop, it stops as well. So it's really just like an ongoing thing, right? So I just know it's unrealistic.
Mhm.
Minoxidil is also toxic to pets.
Oh, so if you got pets, you probably shouldn't be taking
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
Because it's topical. It's like, I just like to point that out because I feel like no one else is talking about it.
Because
But, like-
in cosmetology school, it was like this great thing. FDA approved. It's the only thing that's FDA approved that will
Right.
grow your hair.
Well, we have a couple other things. So like, it's fine.
Mhm.
But it is toxic to pets. Don't let your pet anywhere near it while it's wet. Let it dry down before you go to bed. Because if you go to bed with it wet on your head and then like your cat sleeps on your pillow, it's toxic, you know?
Mhm.
And you know, I'm not going to do anything that's going to affect my cat,
Right, absolutely, for sure.
period.
And then that's a medical bill for your cat now. You have
Right,
a medical bill for
right.
your hair, now you got a medical bill for your cat.
They're also going to offer like PRP, which if you guys don't know what PRP is, it's they take blood out of your body, spin it, get the growth factors and inject them back into your scalp.
Mhm.
So luckily, now we have synthetic versions of that. We have plant-based, what is it called? Growth factors.
Okay.
I always get that wrong because growth factor seems like, I don't know, like an intense word for it.
Really? You think so?
Not intense. Actually, it's probably the opposite. Growth factors just seems like a very simple way of putting it.
Mhm, yeah.
But we have plant-based options now, and you don't necessarily have to get them injected. So there's just like other options now.
Okay.
But I do feel like in the dermatology sector, since they deal with all skin, not just hair and scalp,
Mhm.
they're really stuck on a couple procedures. Whereas through a more holistic way, there are so many other avenues we can take.
Oh, okay. So do you feel like the dermatology approach is more aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aggressive is a good word for it.
Mhm.
And it's very expensive. Like PRP treatments are going to run you thousands of dollars, and they're normally not covered by insurance. Because like I said, hair is not essential to life. So it's actually really hard to get anything covered.
Okay. I did not. I know one of my clients, I did refer her to a dermatologist, and she opted out because she felt like the treatment was too aggressive. Not in the way that you are explaining it, though, but more in a way of she wanted to start treatment that day. You know?
She's like, no, I'm ready. She's like, I want hair today.
Yeah. So, or the dermatologist was more aggressive about the approach, and she was more kind of hesitant. You know, I think she wanted maybe just more of a consultation. I don't know. Just to learn about what's going on with her, but not necessarily, you know, proceed with treatment right then and there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, getting shots in your scalp freaks me out. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I know. I don't like shots at all. So,
in my
a sensitive
head,
area, like in your head, that's too much. But I would do it if I had to. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh. What are some misconceptions people have about the role of a trichologist?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like there's not very misconceptions because no one knows what it is yet.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I feel like the misconception is like people don't know what I do. They don't know what I offer. Because like you said, I offer a lot of hair loss consultations.
Mhm.
The way that works is someone will come into me. I have them fill out this extremely, extremely long form.
Mhm.
So that form has like family history. I want to know about your diet. I want to know about your life. Like, are you a stressed person? Do you have children? How old are the kids? I want to know about your hormonal cycle because hormones play a huge role in hair loss.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go through all that. Then we have the option So that's kind of more of like talking it through. And then I get my scope and I scope the scalp and I look at what's going on so I can see what's happening. So you get like kind of immediate, like we can talk it through answers.
Okay.
Then we can order blood work or a hair tissue mineral analysis if you want to go a little bit deeper into it. But that's like, I give everyone the option, right?
Right.
It's like if you want the simple consultation because you just want to feel seen and heard because it's emotional and you just want someone to validate. Especially when I look at your scalp, I can say like, yeah, look, this is what a healthy follicle looks like because everyone has at least one healthy follicle.
Right.
A healthy follicle has several hairs that come out of it. They're all around the same diameter. The scalp looks nice and clean. And then I can look at the parts of hair that they're a little bit more concerned with. And I can really tell them like, yeah, I'm validating you. Like you are experiencing hair loss right here. Then I give them a very simple routine to go home with.
Yes.
I actually write a huge report of what we talked about, products I recommend. I've started sending a little calendar too of like a weekly routine. So it's like Monday, you're going to wash your hair with this. Tuesday, you're going to let it sit. Wednesday, you're going to do like a derma roll. Sunday, you're going to do like a detox set, right? So you have all the answers of just a very simple classic routine to go off of. And then I give recommendations of like more aggressive things.
I love that because sometimes you just don't know what to do, but I like how you simplify it for your clients. So it's like on Monday, I know exactly what I'm doing. On Tuesday, instead of like giving them all these instructions and it becomes overwhelming trying to figure out, okay, I don't even remember.
What do I even need to do? Like, that's why I also like it written down because like I'll follow something if it's written down.
Right.
But if I'm going home with 16 products, no one's going home with 16 products. But you know, like if someone's recommending that I get everything, I give them all of my recommendations. I say, just take what you can. Like we're going to start small. I've always found that starting more simply is better and easier because then you can like work your way back a little bit. You know, just add on one or two things every month.
Yes. And it's also like, whenever you are starting something new, it's like this additional thing in your schedule that you have to make time for as if we're not already busy. So the more simplified approach will probably, they will likely do it.
Right.
It's
all about consistency, right? And if you're consistent, I would rather you do something very simple consistently than do the full routine once a month, right? Because that's not going to work. It's not going to do anything if you're not doing the at-home stuff.
Right, for sure. What are the most common types of hair loss you encounter in your practice?
I encounter a little bit of everything. So with men, androgenetic alopecia or male pattern baldness, that affects, I think it's like between 75 and 85% of men.
Okay.
It's so prevalent. And everyone knows what it looks like. Like the hairline starts to recede or they start to get like a little wispy patch on the back. That is a genetic mutation. So it affects a lot of men. I see that a lot. And then I see a lot of telogen effluvium with women. So like I said, that's childbirth, hormonal changes, medication changes. So with those, we just kind of, it's like a fun mystery game where I have someone fill out all this information and we just have to like work our way back to like, okay, so what was happening 3 months ago? What about 3 months before that? Like when did you start noticing that you were losing hair? And let's work our way back because you have to figure out the root cause of the hair loss before you can deal with it.
For sure.
Because if you don't, a lot of people just want to skip ahead to like the hair growth serums and like the derma rolling and like the growth factors treatments. But if we don't stop why your hair is falling out, then you're going to be trapped in this like baby hairs forever situation where you're going to be growing new hair, but you're going to be losing hair at the same time.
So you're not really retaining much of anything.
Because if you don't address the underlying issue, it's just going to keep happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to target the problem in order to fix it for sure. How does stress, diet, or lifestyle affect their health?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question because that's like the missing piece that I think people don't consider when they're worried about their hair falling out. It affects everything. So I always tell clients, hair is non-essential to living, right? You can be bald and alive.
And still be okay. Have breath in your lungs, heart is still pumping, for sure,
It's not going to be like that huge of an issue. But since your hair is non-essential to living,
Mhm.
if you have any imbalance anywhere else in your body, like for example, protein is a huge one because honestly, not a lot of people get enough protein in their diet.
Mhm.
Your body's going to prioritize that protein going to your muscles and going to your heart or wherever needs protein. It's going to prioritize sending that where you need it. So you might notice that your hair is getting brittle because your hair is not getting enough protein.
Makes so much sense.
The extra goes to your hair. Same thing with water, right? A lot of my clients are really dehydrated. And that comes back in the scans every single time. Because your body's going to send that water to your kidneys.
Yes.
Because that's where it needs it to live.
Right.
So that's when you start to notice the flaky scalp. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with dehydration. A lot of people they come to me and they're like, my scalp is so flaky. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, well, have you drank water today? Just plain water. I mean, I'm bad because I have an iced coffee with me right now.
But you probably get your water in too, though.
Right. You just have to make sure that you're taking care of like your body portion.
Yeah.
Because whatever's left over is going to go to your hair. That's actually like, I wish I should have brought my before pictures because my hair looks, honestly, this is the best it's probably ever looked.
It looks really
Once
good.
I started switching over to, because I was vegan for many years. I started eating meat last year.
So the vegan was not helping your hair heal?
I was just a bad vegan because I was just eating like a lot of carbs, right? I was just bad.
Oh my gosh.
Because there's like, like you go out to eat, you can only get like bread, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So,
like no meat for protein.
Right, no protein or like a salad with no protein.
Right.
So I was really noticing like my hair wasn't as shiny, it was dull. So when I did these scans on myself, it was actually very eye-opening of like, oh, you haven't gotten enough protein in your body probably ever.
Oh my goodness.
Right. It's crazy. Oh. It's all lifestyle changes make like the world of difference.
So we definitely know dehydration, not drinking enough water, getting enough fluids, the diet. What are some foods that clients or anyone can eat, that can help with protein? Well, we know meat is protein, but I guess like what I like is like quick snacks.
Oh, I love a quick
snack. Yeah.
Let me think. Because I just go to Costco and I like look up. There's actually like a TikToker that talks about like protein snacks, and I love them. Just prioritizing like healthy fats as well. Because healthy fats are going to help hydrate.
Like omega,
like avocados, a lot of nuts.
Yeah,
trail mix isn't a great like easy snack. Those little meat sticks are a great snack as long as you're getting like the zero sugar healthier ones. Yeah, there's so many like cute little protein snacks now.
Yeah, because sometimes you just need something quick.
I keep a lot of protein shakes at my salon as well. I make a protein coffee, so I just do like a protein shake with like 2 shots of espresso in it. So good.
Oh my goodness! Because I think sometimes the approach of trying to intentionally incorporate these certain ingredients into our foods in order to get the nutrition that we need, it just sounds like another thing.
Yeah.
So you just be like, I'm not doing it today.
No, for real.
Or ever. Because it's like, there's already so much to balance, and that's why I'm like, what are some snacks where you can just grab
also, just
and go?
Like taking multivitamins, just like really, I know like no one wants to take a multivitamin, but they really do work. You can get, if you're B vitamin deficient, that's a big one for hair loss. Zinc is another big one for hair loss. So just like take care of your body. Like I hate saying it like this, but
it's simple.
Well, it's like, and what you need to do, right? Everyone knows what they need to do. It's just prioritizing it and like putting your health before, I don't know, other things. Is your health more important than like scrolling on your phone?
No, see, because we can do that for hours.
I could do that for 7 hours a day.
Yeah. And in those 7 hours, it would take, 30 minutes?
to cook a good meal.
Oh, my goodness. Are there any specific medical conditions or genetic factors that predispose people to hair loss?
Yes. So the big one is androgenetic alopecia, which is it's a female pattern hair loss and male pattern baldness. That is a genetic mutation. It's a mutation of the 5-AR enzyme, if you guys want to get like far into it. Basically what it does is it breaks testosterone down in a weird way that sends it to your hair follicles.
Okay. What about the female pattern? I know about the male pattern.
It's the same. It's the same.
But it's the same balding spots.
So on women, it looks different.
Okay.
So the first thing that you'll see if a woman's experiencing this is her hair is going to get really, really oily very fast.
Okay.
Right? Like, have you had those clients? It's like they wash their hair in the morning. By night, it's still oily.
No, my clients, their hair is always dry. I don't have any really oily hair clients. It's always, my hair is so dry.
I mean, that's a good thing. It's a good thing they haven't run into this. Or it's like their part is getting a little bit wider. That's another big telltale sign.
I have seen that. And her hair was oily.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like, yeah, as you say the symptoms, like it comes up. So your parts get wider, or it just starts to get wispier on like the very top of the head.
Yes. Yeah.
So what that's called miniaturization. So the testosterone attaches itself to your hair follicle and then it chokes out that hair follicle. So that hair is going to get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So I think it's most prevalent on men because we've all seen the man who you were like, baby, just shave it. Like, right? Like,
don't even try to help them.
But you know what like you see them and you're like, you are holding on to those 10 hairs like with your whole life. But that's like a good way to like, that's what it looks like at its most extreme. Like the hairs just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and wispier and wispier.
Yeah.
They're more spread apart until eventually the DHT has choked out that hair follicle and the hair follicle's dormant.
Can you let our listeners know what is DHT?
DHT is dihydrotestosterone. So testosterone gets broken down by this enzyme and it turns into DHT.
Gotcha.
This is the most prevalent hair loss, like for everybody because it's genetic. It can be helped with a supplement. That's it. There's DHT inhibiting supplements.
Okay.
There's also like, I'm more of a holistic person in general just because I just feel like it works and I like using it. So there's like pumpkin seed oil or stinging nettle. Like there are natural ingredients that help counteract the DHT. You can take them orally or apply them topically.
I was going to ask which one would be best.
I mean, if you're wanting to be aggressive with it, I would do both.
Both. No, for sure, yeah.
Because you can see DHT. Like if I scope someone's scalp, you can see DHT.
What does it look like?
It's yellow. It's like a yellowy, like sticky substance.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can see it on the scalp, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm learning so much.
You're about to get a scope and start looking at people.
So I did used to do that.
Really?
You know, yeah, I did. Whenever you mentioned DHT, that's why I was like, can you explain to our listeners what it is? Because I am very familiar with that terminology and what it is. But I only went surface level. But for you as a trichologist, like you've done the actual, you have the education, you know.
Deep.
Yeah, you went deep and I just kind of stayed on the surface level. Like when you mentioned pumpkin seed oil, I know about pumpkin seed oil helping to reverse DHT and those things, but I know a lot of listeners don't. So it's like, you know, with your profession and being that this is your line of work and mine's just mostly focused on hair care.
Yeah.
And not in the depths of yours.
Well, it's also interesting because I feel like a lot of brands like have started entering the hair loss world.
Yeah, they have.
So it's great because we're getting a lot of education. It's actually great because I've been helping some brands like work out their education to make sure it's correct because I did take a class and the educator said something and I was like, hey, so that's like actually like not true.
So how was that? Did they receive it?
Yeah, it was actually great.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I just like I'm just saying this as like I don't want you to spread like misinformation around.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for doing it. And I'm glad that they received it well.
Yeah. But I'm just
there was
glad
no
that, like,
ego involved.
Like you said, like you got that education from somewhere. I love that this is like becoming a thing that like we can talk about. I think hairstylists, like I said, that we're on the front lines.
Yes.
Your clients are going to come to you before they're going to go to a doctor about it.
That's true.
So like everyone should have a base level.
Absolutely. For sure. What are some effective treatments or solutions you recommend for common hair loss issues?
I like derma rolling.
Okay.
So derma rolling is like using, it's like a little, looks like a pizza cutter. It has like little tiny needles on it.
Do it hurt?
It does not hurt. It does not hurt at all. If you're doing it at home on yourself, just get 0.5 that is plenty.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is you can roll around your areas of concern because your hair is held onto your head by white blood cells. So these white blood cells are the things that are going to go to different parts of your body that need it, right?
Okay.
They're stem cells. So it's like, for example, water is like the huge one. Okay. So if you're really dehydrated and you're not getting enough water, some of your white blood cells might just be traveling down there. Or a better example is childbirth, right? Your white blood cells are leaving your scalp because they're going to go down to your uterus and they're going to get to work.
Right.
Derma rolling causes a fake injury on the top of your head so the white blood cells know where to go back to. Right?
Yep, that makes
sense. It does
sense.
work. Like the science behind that does definitely work. Derma rolling, using a hair growth serum on those parts, derma rolling it in is going to help it penetrate a little bit deeper. Scalp massage is actually huge. I feel like that's not talked about enough, and it's free. Like you can do this right while you're listening to this podcast.
I know that's right.
Massage your scalp.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you're actually moving the scalp against your skull because the hair or the blood on top of your scalp is dormant. It doesn't have a ton of circulation up there. So you just want to like manually get it going. That's a good one. Red light therapy. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of red light therapy, yes.
Red light therapy is FDA approved.
Okay.
Like so that's when like we have other options. You just need to use it 15 minutes a day. I have a stand in the salon that I use, and I have a stand at home that I use.
Okay.
I just sit under it 15 minutes a day. You can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cause that one's really good because that one actually helps wake up dormant follicles as well because it promotes photobiostimulation. So a good way to like think about it, because I know you guys probably don't know what photobiostimulation is. That's crazy. But like if you think about a plant, photosynthesis.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Plants use sunlight to turn over their cells and grow faster.
Right.
Same thing for your scalp.
Oh, the red light therapy
is going to promote photobiostimulation, which means it's going to help turn cells over faster. So it's actually really good for like muscle recovery. A lot of athletes use it on like specific muscles. It's good for your skin because it's going to help anti-age. It's helping those cells turn over a little bit faster.
That's what I heard of red light therapy, mostly used on skin. So when you brought
like the
it up,
masks. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's good for hair. So it's a win-win-win.
Okay. Girl, I feel like I'm in class. Like,
Good.
It's so much information. Are there any new or emerging technologies in trichology that are making a big impact?
I would say us having growth factors that are not coming from your own blood is huge, right? Because there are different ways that we can like put that on the scalp. Like I do it with mesotherapy, which it's a non-invasive, it's like a needle-free way to like get the growth factors to go into your scalp. People can do it with microneedling. Hairstylists under our license, we cannot microneedle. So I'm just saying that for anyone who's not in Texas, because every other state can do it except for us. You can derma roll it in. You can apply it topically. Like there are so many different ways that we can now use this technology of like basically like using stem cells to our advantage.
Okay.
In like an effective and not very expensive way.
Okay. I love that. I'm always so quick to refer my clients to dermatologists. I'm like, oh, maybe you should just go see a trichologist. Like, you know. How do you determine the best treatment plan for each client?
Ooh, it is totally different for every client.
Right.
So what I do with clients is we're going to start, it just depends on how severe their hair loss is, what they've already tried, and what they're willing to do.
Okay.
Because this is a team effort. I can only do so much. Like my job really is making recommendations, and I can do treatments, right? I actually own like the Japanese head spa. Have you seen those? It's so good.
I want you to talk more about that too. Like, you know, informing the listeners what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so the Japanese head spa, we'll just go that. If you guys have seen it on the internet, it's like you lay down on this bed. It's basically getting a facial for your scalp. So think about like what you get in a facial, right? You get like the massage, stimulation. You can do a derma roll session. We can exfoliate. You can do it for hair growth. You can do it for relaxation. A lot of people just come in and fall asleep on the table.
How long is it?
An hour.
Yes.
Yeah. Like an hour of like the warm water coming over you. It's absolutely amazing. So like I said, it determines where they're at and what they're willing to do because it's a team effort. So I can only do certain things, but if they're not going home and doing the rest of it, it's not going to work. So that's how everyone's treatment gets determined. For example, like men who come to me and they say that they have hair loss, and I say, okay, so I want you to take this supplement every day. I want you to use this red light therapy for 15 minutes a day. And every 3 days, I want you to apply this topically. So many times they go, too much. I'm not going to do all that. Oops. Right. They like literally tell me that it's way too much work for them. Which is crazy to me. I'm like, do you want my help or not?
Yeah, that's kind of minimal.
Right. So that's how like people's I just gauge it off of what you're willing to do because honestly, everyone's at a different stage. Some people will strip back their routine. Like I'll look at all of their hair care and be like, okay, all of this can go under your sink for a while. We're just going to do simple moisturizing, simple conditioner, and this one scalp serum.
Right.
And we're going to start here. We're going to dial it back and start very simple. Some people, I can jump all the way to, here is like a 9-step routine that you're going to do twice a week.
So it really just depends on how committed they are.
How committed, what they're looking for. A lot of people are catching hair loss really early these days, which is amazing. So like for them, it's just preventative.
Yes.
And some people, it's like, we're trying to grow your hair back. So it's a little bit more intense.
The process is a lot longer too, for sure. What are your views on dioxin?
I like dioxin.
Good. I hear so many different, so many misconceptions out there. And from my personal experience, I think it's great.
Yeah, dioxin is one of there are like a few really good brands that I'm like, they've done the research. They've worked with dermatologists, trichologists, like they've worked with literally everybody. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad you solidified that for me. Because my daughter, she has some, very minor dry scalp, issues or concerns, but it consistently kept coming back.
Yeah.
And it was nothing we could really do. I'm like, well, we can't apply oil to it because depending on what type of dryness this is, it's going to make it worse. So I was like, I'm just going to go get some dioxin.
Yeah.
And I did, and it worked.
Yeah.
But then I talked to one of she's like an older cosmetologist. She was like, dioxin is so aggressive, and your daughter, she's so young. And I was just like, but it's the only thing that's helping.
I also feel like, especially talking to people who've like been in the industry for a long time, things have changed. Like if you think about like the chemicals that they were using on their hair versus the chemicals we're using on our hair, they're totally different. So
for sure. Yeah.
I give it a stamp of approval.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, that's
and if it works, it works.
And it's the only thing that worked for her. So I was like, okay. Can hair loss be reversed or is it always about management?
It just depends. Depends on what they're willing to do at home. I have seen amazing things with it being reversed, but I've also seen people who are stuck in like the same spot for a long time because they're not willing to go home and do the rest of the work. So that also goes back to like, what are you willing to do? But both. It's like a lot of catching it early is so important as well, just for like management. It's so much easier to keep hair on your head than grow it back.
For sure, yeah.
So you can you absolutely can bring it back. Okay. Of course, there are outliers. So it's like alopecia areata is an autoimmune disorder. That's just going to continue to flare up. Like that's not something that really anyone can help because autoimmune is autoimmune. Like if your body is going to continually attack the hair, eventually it's not going to be able to regenerate because that's happening internally.
Yeah. That happened to one of my clients. She had alopecia areata. And I told her, I was like, it's something going on internally, you know? And she found out she had lupus.
I was going to say, it always, alopecia areata is like, that's the big one to me that I can't help. Because that has to be...
What about a dermatologist? Can a dermatologist help?
I would send them fully just to their general practitioner.
Oh.
Because they need to get their thyroid checked. They need to get... Like, they might have lupus. They might be hypothyroidism. They might have Hashimoto's. Like, when I was in school for hair loss, we learned there are so many very intense things that it could be. And that just needs to be handed off to a doctor.
And then once the doctor diagnosed... Is it safe to go see a dermatologist or?
Yeah, I feel like that one is really under like just a general doctor's scope.
Even if they wanted to grow their hair back or it just won't grow back?
That one, if it's going to grow back, it'll grow back by itself. You can get steroid shots in your scalp, but I'm pretty sure a general doctor is the one that does the steroid shots.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
I know that one sucks. Sorry.
I know. I'm like, is there a solution? Tell me a solution. What can people do daily to maintain healthy hair and scalp?
I always say start small, right? My motto is like, I'm going to meet you where you are, right? We're not going to jump ahead. We're not going to like make this a huge, intense process. We're going to meet where you are. Are you taking a multivitamin? Are you drinking enough water? Okay, those are just base level.
Right.
Maintaining a healthy scalp is just maintaining a healthy body. So if you don't have any hair loss issues that like we're presently working with, but it's something that you might be like a little anxious about, just taking care of your body is going to do it enough. Are you getting enough exercise? Exercise promotes circulation. Circulation is going to promote hair growth, right?
Absolutely.
Are you getting sunlight, vitamin D? Vitamin D is an amazing vitamin that's going to help.
I need some vitamin D.
Right?
Okay. That's
right,
one for me. That's noted for me.
But like, are you just taking care of your general body? Are you moisturizing your scalp? Your scalp and hair, like I said, are symptoms of something else that's happening. I just want to drill that in.
Yeah.
It's a symptom. If you have dry scalp, that's a symptom. You're either dehydrated or something externally is like throwing you off, or the seasons are changing, which is like,
that's true,
like you can't help that, but it is a symptom.
Gotcha. Are there specific products or ingredients you suggest avoiding to minimize hair damage or loss?
I mean, sulfates in general,
So like the, what about, Selsun Blue?
That's good if it's actual dandruff.
Okay.
So there is a difference between dandruff and dry scalp.
Okay.
Dandruff is a fungus. Like if you guys look at pictures of dandruff, it's yellow or it's greenish and it's typically gooey and like
gooey,
kind of
oily
boogery texture. That is a fungus. Selsun Blue can get rid of that. But if you just have like flaky scalp, like it's white flakes, they're pretty small. That's just dry scalp. If you were to use Selsun Blue on that, you're just going to make it so much worse.
So you got to know what it is.
You got to know
to target
what you're talking. Yeah, you have to know what you're looking at in order to target it. I don't really like to demonize, honestly, any ingredients because every body is different and everybody's threshold is different.
That's true.
Right? Like things that my scalp would react to might be amazing on your scalp. So just, I don't know. I hate that it's like trial and error, but it's at the same time, it's like, it's a little trial and error.
It is.
But avoid sulfates. You don't need salt on your scalp. It's just going to dry it out.
What do you think about people using monostat on their scalp for fungus? Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yes. There have been some women who have used monostat on their scalp whenever they have dermatitis or like you said, dandruff because it's so different from dry scalp.
I'm going to have to look this up.
And they said it worked. I've never used it.
That's a little crazy.
I know I never used it, but a couple of my clients have used it in the past and they said it worked. And I'm like, well, it is to attack a fungus too.
Right.
Some type of fungus.
That's why I say like, everyone's threshold is different. If it worked for them, I'm so happy it worked for them. I've never heard of that personally, but like,
I can't believe you never heard of it. I heard it like a decade ago.
I'll do a little research on that.
Yeah, look, I've never tried it, and of course I've never tried it on my clients. But I was very shocked at a few women saying like, I use monostat and it works.
Because I just wonder like what the actual active ingredients are. Because if you've noticed, like especially in like hair care coming up, a lot of hair care is using skincare ingredients.
Yeah,
right. Because your scalp is skin.
Absolutely.
If I like to talk about like the skinification of scalp, right? Like if you would never go 8 days without washing your face.
So why would you do that?
Why would you do that on your scalp?
Well, yeah, your scalp, yeah.
Also,
sure.
like to go back to your question of like things you can do for your scalp health, keep it clean. I know I'm guilty of telling my clients this years ago of like, try go as long as you can without washing your hair. It's going to keep your color more vibrant. It's going to keep your hair better, right? Hair and scalp are different. You would never go 8 days without washing your face. Think of that next time you're thinking about scalp. Of course, if you don't have any scalp issues, do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Right. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But just keep it in mind.
Yeah, for sure. How important is scalp health in preventing hair loss? And what are some tips for keeping the scalp healthy?
Great question. You want to keep it moisturized. So adding an oil into your routine is great, especially in like the drier months here. Really looking at the ingredients in your products that you're using. Like my shampoo for the winter is hyaluronic acid based, right? Because if you start thinking about your hair care like it's skincare, it's going to help you walk back things, right? Because I feel like we are all well versed in skincare. Like in the winter, I use a heavier moisturizer. I use hyaluronic acid. So on my scalp, I use an oil treatment before I wash my hair to add that moisture back into it so my shampoo isn't as aggressive. And then I use a hyaluronic acid shampoo, and that's going to help just balance my scalp and bring it back. So start thinking about your scalp as skin. Treat it like you would your skin. And you're going to have a happy and healthy scalp.
Yeah, and if your scalp is healthy, then your hair.
Yeah, healthy hair starts at the scalp.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's where your blood follicles are, right? It's like it's the life of your hair. So.
It sure is. Absolutely. What are some challenges you face as a trichologist?
I think mostly it's like patience, right? Like just like having patience. It does take 3 months to see any results. So a lot of clients get disheartened and you know, you really want instant results because typically by the time you've seen me, you've been dealing with this for a long time already. So me saying like, okay, it's going to be another 3 months, right? It's very disheartening. So just like staying the course, doing things consistently. Consistency is key. But that's really the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Other than that, I love this job.
Okay, good. I feel like that's really minimum too, because in the hair world, it's a lot. It comes with a lot of different challenges depending on what are the needs of the client. You know.
Yeah. I'm really good at setting realistic expectations.
Good.
Right. I'm not a fairy. I can't like wave my magic wand and your hair comes back. I can just make recommendations. I can show you what to do. But if you're not willing to do it, that's really it, right?
Yeah. It's a collaborative thing.
We're a team.
Yep.
And that's why I tell them, like, when we sit down, we are a team now. Me and you.
Yep.
And we're going to do this together.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can't be in your shower every day.
Yeah.
As much as you would want me in there.
Right.
Doing
I
it.
can't do it every day. And sometimes I feel as though what they do at home matters more than what we do.
Yeah.
You know, we give the information and the knowledge, the education to help them. But when you apply it at home, that's what's going to really help you excel in your progress.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing it at home, my information means nothing. It's not even valid, you know?
Exactly. That's what I would say is the biggest challenge.
Yeah, for sure. Have you encountered any myths or misinformation about hair loss that you'd like to debunk?
Yeah. Oh my God. This is my favorite.
Oh,
okay.
good.
Okay. So you know that old wives' tale, like if you look at your mother's father, that's how you can tell if you're going to lose your hair.
Thank you. Okay, this is a good one. Come on.
Yeah, total myth. Total myth. If anybody in your family tree has hair loss, so aunts, uncles, any of your grandparents, even look at like your grandmas, right? Because a lot of people just look straight for the men because it's easier to see.
Right.
But like if any of your grandmas, cousins, whatever, if anyone has hair loss, you have an equal chance of getting hair loss because it's a genetic mutation. It can come from anybody.
Gotcha.
So it's not just your mother's father. I'm so sorry because my boyfriend's mother's father has great hair. And I'm like, oh man. But then his dad's bald. So I'm like, okay, so
I
hate to say it.
Okay. That's a myth I've been telling so many people. And I've stopped today. But up until today, I was saying that.
If
like,
you're Kenitra's clients, sorry.
Oh my gosh. I was mostly extending it to males more than females because I didn't know what it was for women. But for men, I was like, oh yeah, on your maternal side, you know, if
myth. I don't know who started that. Whoever started that is the greatest gossip of all time.
Oh goodness. Are there any more out there?
That's like the top
That's
one.
like the top
one.
It is, yeah, for sure. It's the top one.
We'll just leave it with that one. I don't want to scare anyone too much.
Okay, got you. But that's like the only one that I've ever heard of,
right?
To be honest, yeah. How do you help clients manage the emotional and psychological aspects of hair loss?
I just want them to feel heard, right? Feeling heard, I think, is like 90% of it. Validating their experience. Like, whether it's hair loss or breakage, you're here because you're insecure, right? Like, we just have to like take that with a grain of salt. Like I'm here to help you. I'm not putting blame on anybody. Like, it's nobody's fault.
Right.
We're just here to help, right? It's like that saying, like, they'll forget what you said, but they'll remember how they felt in that moment. Just making sure that everyone feels seen and heard, and they walk away with a solution.
Yeah.
And just validate them.
Yeah.
Even if
mostly that's what it is.
Right. Even if it's feeling really dramatic, because some people come in and they're like a little dramatic about it. I'm like, I'm here to validate your experience. If that is how you feel, then
you are right.
That's real.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to someone experiencing hair loss but feeling overwhelmed about where to start?
I would say, walk it back. Are you taking a multivitamin? Are you taking care of your body? Start there. Then we can work your way up to like different serums, oils, and treatments. But I would rather you do something today that you can control than be overwhelmed and not do anything.
For sure. Are there any success stories or memorable moments from your work that have left a lasting impact on you?
Yeah, actually, just last week, I had a client send me a picture. She had a child, and then she had multiple surgeries back to back. So that's like 3 bouts of telogen effluvium.
Yes,
each are different, right? It's each one of those have to be treated as different hair loss. So it's like she lost up to 75% of her hair 3 times in a row. She had like honestly nothing left. So we've been working with her by doing extensions, because extensions can help your hair grow because you're protecting it. But she sent me a text that her hair fully fits up into a ponytail and you can't see any extensions.
My goodness.
I was so excited.
Congratulations.
So excited.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why we do this.
Yeah. Makes the job a lot more rewarding whenever you see the results, and then you see the clients that are sticking and trusting the process with you. Whatever advice you are giving, they're following it. Sometimes even with my own clients, we'll have a consultation first, usually before they secure an appointment, a hair appointment. And sometimes I don't believe that they're going to stick with it, because a lot of times they don't. Yeah.
That's like, that's something that you learn as a hairstylist.
Yeah.
I fully believe that people are only going to do probably 10% of what I say.
Yeah.
Or they're going to do it one time and be like, I did it every week.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's no way.
I'm like, I can see that you're not doing that every week.
Right.
I can see with my eyes.
Yeah. But when you get those few that really stick to the instructions, any advice that you're offering, and they do it and you see the results, she'd be like, oh my goodness.
Oh, it renewed my lease on life. I was like, we're doing it, you guys. I'm not screaming into the void anymore.
Yeah. And also just the reassurance and the confidence in your own practice. Like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like if you just get on board, it can work and it can happen for you.
Yes. Exactly.
So I know to receive that text and, also seeing her hair being restored.
Well, receiving a text that's not like a hey girly text.
Yeah. But it's like a rewarding text, like out of the blue too. It's like, this is why I love what I do, like that's the validation,
Exactly.
Are there any, I'm sorry, just ask you that. If someone is interested in pursuing a career in trichology, what steps would you recommend they take?
I would say do it. Do it, first of all. Even if you're just going to do this as a hairstylist, just to have another, like kind of notch in your belt of like, I'm an expert in my field. I can like talk to anybody. Because there's a lot of people who I went to school with who are just hairstylists who are just doing this to have more knowledge behind the chair. Like that is completely valid.
Right.
You don't have to like go off and like do scalp treatments, like all this other stuff. Like you can just do it for the clients that you have now. I would say do your research. There are like online options. There are in-person options. Just be careful and make sure you're not getting scammed. There are some that it's like it's obvious that they're just trying to sell you product, right? Just do your research.
How do you avoid the scamming?
Just
like, how do you know, like, oh, this is obviously a scam?
You'll know when you get to the websites.
Yeah, okay. They look scammy.
It's gonna look scammy. Also, if you're like interested in hair loss, but you don't necessarily want to go full trichology route, I'm actually launching a little education in January. I'm starting with a Substack, so it's gonna be like 4 articles a month about like various hair loss things, like things that are coming up in the world, like new technology or just like basic information, how to talk to clients. So that's coming out in January.
That's
I've
good.
been
Congratulations.
writing my little booty off.
That's great. That is amazing.
Right. So if you don't want to do like a full trichology course, you just like want to have knowledge, you don't have to do the full thing. Like you can pick and choose how deep you want to get into it.
Yeah, because you have, I feel like in cosmetology school, we do talk about anatomy and physiology, but you are really deep within the science of how this really works. We can do some surface level science, as a cosmetologist, but with a trichologist, like you're talking about white blood, cells and how that affects your hair and what you got to do to wake those back up and come back to the hair. We're not talking about that in cosmetology school. So even listening to you, I'm like, whoa, that's deep into science,
And it goes deeper.
Oh, wow. Okay. How can listeners connect with you or learn more about your services?
So I'm at Aoife Marie Beauty, which is Aoife Marie Beauty on Instagram. I also have my salon and head spa in Austin, Texas, which is Amber Salon and Head Spa, and at Amber Salon and Head Spa on
I'll
Instagram.
put the credits.
So you guys can book scalp facials, you can book treatments, you can book a hair loss consultation. Also in January, I'm doing a basic hair analysis. So you can come in and we can scope your scalp and I'll just tell you like your porosity, your density, right? Things that you want to know about your scalp. So if you're not necessarily dealing with hair loss, you can still come in and get something done.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to see you in January. I'm curious to know what's going on with my hair besides just on the surface level.
Exactly.
Like,
just knowing what to do, knowing like what products to buy based on your hair's needs. Because I feel like that's kind of a gap that's missing. It's like, as a hairstylist, we recommend products, but we're not telling our clients why, right? Like, I recommend this because you're low porosity, or like, I see that your scalp is dehydrated. Here's what I'm going to recommend for that.
Yeah, for sure.
And just building out a routine. And like I said, giving you like a calendar of like, here's what an ideal routine would look like for you.
Yeah.
Whether you follow it or not is none of my business.
Yeah, but you have the solution.
But you have the answers.
Yeah. Can you also, before we go, talk more about your Japanese head spa?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we got to really elaborate on that. So, just so the listeners can kind of get a visual. Well, not a visual, but, just kind of an understanding of what that is, because it is like a specialty.
Well, I feel like it's not a lot of people know about it. Yeah. So it is a facial for your scalp. You get to choose from different things. So when you come in, I hand you a piece of paper. You're going to tell me what you think is going on with your scalp.
Oh,
because what you think that's going on and what I can see is going on sometimes aren't the same thing. Like you might say you have dandruff, but I see you have dry scalp, right? So that way I know like how to talk to you about it. So you're going to tell me, how's your scalp feeling? Are you typically drier or oilier? Do you want to do, I have a list of things that you can choose from. So high frequency, which is using electricity to wake up your hair follicles, exfoliation, extra long massage, steam treatment. Everything comes with a detox treatment. It's just a great way to like deep clean your scalp. It's very relaxing. And just take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It also comes with a hair treatment. So you can also tell me about your hair. Does it feel dull? Does it feel dry? Does it feel damaged? So that way we're going to tailor everything to your hair specifically.
Right.
And then we have 2 options. If you want to leave and air dry your own hair, I'll scrunch some product into it and you can call it a day. Or if you want to like do a blowout, we can add on a blowout too.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, I love options.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, being able to come and get that level of relaxation and also, the restoration part of learning what's going on with your hair and scalp and then leave with a style.
Also,
sometimes you can't leave with it all.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when I leave a facial, sometimes I look like I've been beaten up, right? Because there's oil in my scalp or whatever.
So like much oil.
Leaving this treatment and being able to go about your day is like honestly amazing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I really appreciate you and sharing all the I learned a lot. So I know my listeners are going to learn a lot. And I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell our listeners about your podcast?
No.
Not yet.
My little podcast is on hiatus because the editing portion is...
It's a lot.
I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Also, like, the Substack that's coming out, that's, like, really what I want you guys to, like, know about, because it's going to be for stylists. It's going to be for, like, regular clients, too. If you just want to learn more, this is, like, my way of, like, kind of doing, like, a little intro. I also have more online education coming out next year. A little hands-on workshop in my salon as well. It's going to be tentatively in spring. We got a lot coming up, so definitely give me a follow because things are cooking.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That wraps up this enlightening episode of Hear What I'm Saying. A huge thank you to Aoife for sharing her expertise and helping us understand the world of trichology and hair loss solutions. If you're dealing with hair loss or want to prioritize scalp health, take Aoife's advice to heart. There's always a path forward. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who could benefit from it. Until next time, take care of your hair, and I'll catch you in the next episode.